Hey, this is Mr. Programming. Today we're going to do some basic data types, and then we're going to use some control structure on those data types. So we're using the Java programming language because of its readability. It's really easy, and this is a basic course, basic programming. So we want the language that gives the viewer the best readability. So we'll delete all this nonsense out of here. There's a whole bunch of data types, especially in Java. Well, there's primitive data types, and then there's object data types. We're just going to do the three main ones, which is strings, integers, and booleans. So first we'll make a string. String holds any type of character data. Integers, new integer. This holds a number. Now, not just any number, but a whole number. If you go to decimals, you're going to want to use a different data type. So for this, it's just whole numbers. And then booleans, which holds either a true or false value. In this case, we're going to set it to true. So now what we're going to do is we're going to compare some of these. We're going to see what kind of operations we can do on them. So you have conditional statements. The if statement is the most basic one. You write if. You do parentheses and then curly braces. Now within the parentheses, you're going to put whatever condition you want to compare. So for instance, you could do if new string equals, and then you can write something in here, hello world. Obviously that's going to evaluate to false because new string equals any type of character data as set forth above. So you could do that. This would obviously result to false, which means if you put something in here like a print, just a console, this is something that would never run because there's no way it can make it to this particular block because this equals false. Now if you wanted to have another thing, you could do else, and then you could write something. This would run because the above is false. So if whatever in here evaluates to true, it runs its first block, or it runs this block. So it's very selective as to what runs in the first one because it only runs what is true. So let's go ahead and run this particular program, see what happens. Shift F6. Down here, this would run because the above is false. Now, what if we change this to hello world? Now watch what happens when we run the program. This is something that would never run. But it does because this is now true. These have essentially flip-flopped. Now, if we want to modify an integer, you can do that. All you do is just new integer equals 5 or new integer equals 76. It really doesn't matter. Strings are immutable. You can't actually change those, but you can change integers and booleans whenever you want. So let's write something that will print the word hello world 25 times. But we'll use these actual things. And let's also put that in a if statement, new boolean. So we'll do if. Basically it's if new boolean. That's all you have to do. This is shorthand for new boolean equals true. But we don't actually have to do that. You just do this and it's the same thing. So if new boolean evaluates to true, then what we want to do is print hello world 25 times. So now we're going to use a while statement. And all a while statement is there's a condition that as long as the condition evaluates to true, then it's going to continue running whatever's inside the code block. So we'll do while. First we have to make a count. Integer count equals 0. that's going to be our thing that's actually going to count up to 25. So now we're going to do while count is less than or equal to new integer. And then in here we're just going to do the actual printing of hello world. New string. Now the only thing we have to do now is we have to make sure that we increment the count variable, because if you just ran this, while would never end. It would just keep printing hello world over and over and over again until you pulled the power plug in your computer or stop executing the code. But with this, so it'll come here, integer, count equals 0, and then count is, basically this says while 0 is less than 25, hello world, and then it adds 1 to the count, and then it says while 1 is less than 25, while 2 is less than 25, 3, 4, so on and so forth till it gets to 25. So now if we run this program, we notice down here that we get 25 hello worlds. We could actually add the number it's on by just adding some white space here and then put the actual count number. Let's do that. Now it actually counts down here. Hello world 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way up to 25. And that's pretty much it for while statements. It's just going to run whatever's in here. The only modification you can do is you have a do while. And the only difference between a do while and a while is if you change this to do, then you add a while down here. The only difference now is whatever is inside here is guaranteed to run once. There's nothing that can stop it. However, even if while evaluates to false, even if while evaluates to true. Now, this runs once. If this does evaluate to false, that's when it breaks out of there. So that's the only difference between a do and a do while. So there's some basic control structure, basic data types, and its usages. If, and we did an if on a boolean, we created a new integer, and then we did the actual while and then the do while. Now what we can do actually is we can set a breakpoint, and then we can actually start debugging on this. And the debugging allows us to actually step through this program. Let me, hold on. Start debugging. Debug file. So now we're in here and we can actually step through the program and it'll actually tell you what it's doing. It goes through all the different things. Of course this is very verbose and not really important to what we're doing, but it'll actually go through each line of code that it runs, since Java will run a lot of code that's not actually in your program, and that's just the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. But it actually steps through and then you can look at everything that's going on. But as far as just data types and learning about the control structure, that's not really relevant. Anyways, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please go to the YouTube channel. There's tons more videos on different programming. Of course, this was a basic video, and hopefully this will get people into programming. As always, have a good day.